And we're a fairly small startup. We're in Silicon Valley. We focus on, what was it, a big bag of buzzwords at the moment. We do secure cloud things. I guess, more specifically, we have machinery for managing access to
What company did you say you were?
Aleph Cloud. Is this, can you hear me? Is this, okay. So we have machinery for managing access to encrypted documents that might be stored wherever, and our clients don't have to trust us because we can't see any of the keys or anything else, and we'll make it so that clients can share documents in a way that compliance will be happy with them. But the interesting thing about the company is it's basically all in Haskell now. It started off, there was one engineer, Lars, who's going to be talking about haste later, so you should check out his talk if you are interested in haste. And he started doing some prototypes in Haskell, and the prototypes just sort of never got rewritten in another language, and the upper management said, okay, we can stick with Haskell, and then eventually they hired another Haskell programmer, and then the half of the back end that was written in JavaScript just completely broke, and now management wants everything in Haskell. And so we hired a bunch of Haskell programmers, and we're building everything in Haskell. So that's the basic story. So I personally have been using Haskell for a while professionally, maybe almost 10 years. Haskell's, it's a great language. I'm not going to bother. It's, statically types, all that kind of stuff. But what I think is cool right now, and especially with Aleph Cloud being a prime example of this, is there's really a lot more acceptance and usage in the industry. There's if you start doing a search for Haskell jobs on your standard job engines, you'll see Haskell popping up all over the place. Not that many jobs are actually Haskell jobs, but you'll get hits on Haskell. And I feel like now is really the sort of time to sort of prove that it really does work. There's enough acceptance that a number of companies like Aleph Cloud are willing to take a bet on Haskell. And I just, I think now is really the time to test out and see if it's really gonna work. I mean, there are success stories already in Haskell, and there are some failures, but there aren't a whole lot of either. So at Aleph Cloud in particular, that's exactly where we're at. We're at this point, it's all Haskell, and the company will live or die based on how the Haskell team, does, and whether or not we can produce. So that's really interesting. I guess these are the things I wanted to talk about. I guess I should say a few things about how we use Haskell. We make a lot of use of the type system, and we do some cryptographic stuff, and we even we make use of fancy types for like the length of the byte string, because it has to have this many bits in order to satisfy this protocol or whatever. And that's arguably hard to do in another language, to get that statically enforced. We make extensive use of type classes in order to to have like a stack of things that can just sort of be slotted in and out. And that's another very nice thing about Haskell. There are similar kinds of mechanisms in other languages, but I think it works particularly nice with type classes in Haskell. What else? Another thing, Haskell is very lightweight. I don't know, I guess everybody knows it, but it's really the case that code is a lot smaller and I argue easier to maintain. So things being statically typed means, you can write something and 2 years, 3 years later, you can come back to it and you have a good chance of understanding it. So like at a previous company I was at, that happened to me. I wrote something and a couple years later I had to change it, and the only hope I had, I would not have been able to do it if it had been written in another language. It was just, the types sort of guided me and saved the day. So we are happy about the types in Haskell. I guess the other thing I should say, we have a front end, and it's a JavaScript. There's a large JavaScript component because we have to do certain kinds of operations in the client because of the guarantees that we give our customers. And currently we use Haste to generate JavaScript from Haskell, and that's working out very nicely. In addition, we have some JMacro right now, but we were converting it to PureScript. That also works out nicely. It at least holds the promise that we might eventually have one code base to do all of the sort of cryptographic stuff, and we can sort of compile it with Haste to get the JavaScript version of it, or we can compile it with GHC to get the native version, or who knows, maybe we'll be able to get it on iOS or Android, so that's another sort of tantalizing thing that's maybe not too far off, and that we're sort of hoping to be able to capitalize on. Great. I think I'm out of time, and I have things to say too. So thanks for your time.